Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Monday to you all. Hopefully, you're all having a great start to your week. Let us continue with this new IVE release. We are doing the album listing for IVE's brand new and first ever studio length album titled IVE. So, put together, it is IVE's IVE album. Starship. Really? Like, I get it's kind of catchy and all, and like the second IVE is it's like a shorthand version of I have, hence the apostrophe. But like IVE's IVE, that's like Ferrari naming their hypercar La Ferrari, which literally means the Ferrari. So in English, it means the Ferrari. Like, but that's besides the point. We're checking out the rest of the album. This has been a very tumultuous adventure down this album already, because I was not the biggest fan of Kitsch. I liked what they were trying to do with it, and I liked that we got a psychology lesson out of it through semantic satiation. That's for a different day. But I'm fresh off of listening to I Am, that title track, and holy smokes, that song came out of nowhere and just like it sent me places I've never been to before, and I'm so ecstatic about it. And now we have, what is it, like 10 or 11 more songs to check out? It's an 11-song album. We've listened to Kitsch, which we'll skip. We've listened to I Am, which we'll skip. So we'll go Blue Blood, and then Lips, Heroine, Mine, Hypnosis, Not Your Girl, Next Page, Cherish, and Shine With Me from beginning to end. This is going to be a long one, so welcome to the journey. We're over on Spotify because not all the songs have lyric videos out at the moment, and I'm probably not going to be too focused on lyrics anyways, mainly because that's not how my brain works. My brain tends to take in the musical intricacies and like instrumentals and melodies and harmonies, things like that, before lyrics, so we're just going to keep it on Spotify, keep it really simple for me to deal with. On the second monitor I have writing credits for all the songs, so we'll be referring to that. If you want to skip ahead to a certain song, the timeline is going to be chaptered based on what song we're listening to, as is the case with all of my album listens. Of course, that is if this stays on YouTube. Content ID is always a complicated thing in the reaction world. So, take it on the chin if there's anything we have to deal with. But in the meantime, let us get started with Blue Blood. Now, looking at credits, it looks like, in terms of composition and arrangements, Ryan S. Jun is everywhere on this album, but lyricists, lots of different lyricists. So Blue Blood, So June. Alright, let's go. Blue Blood. Spotify is on the OBS. Looks like we're off to a good start.
Time's up, 설명할 시간 없어. 내 손을 잡아 어서 널 나에게 맡겨줘.
I kind of like this marching beat. It's a nice way to start the album. Someone was floating up top there. This legitimately sounds like an IVE war chant. This is so cool. Whoa, those string hits were so interesting, because they weren't like entirely in tune. I feel like you just need to add a persistent snare to this, and this is just a war chant, or like a war song. Now, I like that the register is really low too. Yeah, those string hits are really interesting because they break out of the home key a little bit. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, it's that deep percussion and that repetitive percussion that gives it that war chant feel. And the unison chorus also helps. Well, dang, okay. What an intro. And it's an intro that's not an intro. It's an intro to an album that is a proper length song. It's what, 245-ish? Dang, that is a start. It kind of gets like the heart rate going in kind of like a preparatory kind of way. Like, I keep calling it a war chant, and it genuinely does feel like one. It's got the low vocals, it's got the repetitive drums, it's got the low toms and the kick drum and the repetitive snare, and it's got the unison chorus, and everyone's singing really low, and I think it's the perfect setup for I Am, which would come next. But since this is an 11-song album, we're going to skip it because just do not have the time to listen to it again, even though I would listen to this again in a heartbeat. Or I would listen to I Am again in a heartbeat, just don't have the time to do it because I have another album to get to today. But Blue Blood? Oh. I am still kind of curious about those string hits though. Like, let me see if I can even find it. Oh my god, I got it in one. Yeah, those string hits are like, from a classically trained point of view, like that is really interesting choice of notes they've used there. Because for the most part, they're staying within the key, but so on the violin, when you're playing, they're adding little grace notes and like extra little flavor before the last note. So there's like a little run, a little trill, before like a grace note on the last note. That grace note isn't in the original key of the song, and it creates a very short but noticeable moment of musical dissonance for me, and that's definitely like the classical music trained background that I have is definitely playing a big part of that. I think it's just an interesting composition choice. Don't really have any strong opinions leaning in either direction. As for the entire like song though, it's a really good start, and it's low, and I like that it's low because the song that comes after it is really high. Like I Am is a really high song, but Blue Blood is like the polar opposite of that. It's slower, it's got a more marching beat to it instead of like a strutting beat. It's low instead of the high notes from I Am, and it's like yin and yang. It's a perfect setup. So we've got I Am, and then Kimina is on it. Is this the Kimina? Like, mother of K-pop Kimina? Like, compositional goddess Kimina? Who's done, like, IU's Good Day and stuff like that? Holy smokes. If that's the case, her works list is unbelievable. I'll say that right now. But, so we've got I Am, and then we've got Kitsch. We'll skip those two because we've heard them both already, if you want to listen to those on the channel. So we'll go into Lips, which has Exy Sexy Megan Foxy on the lyrics. Exy getting involved with a lot of songwriting credits recently. Like, she was on High Key's album, and now she's working with the Who Bays now? Hell yeah, okay. Lips.
잠 못 드는 밤 이런 날도 몇 번째인지 No doubt I know you right 언제나 사랑은 어렵지 망설이
Hey yo, this is kind of a groove. Hold up. I like the background choral section in that. Oh yeah. That is exactly the rap verse I expected from an XE composed song. It's absolutely perfect. Oh, that is such a cool moment of musical silence there. It's so quiet. And it's like, you really feel the isolated vocals there. That's really cool. Uh-oh. 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 I love that. I love the background chorus. It's such a nice, like, it creates a nice atmosphere there. And this little breakdown in the bridge. Oh, take away the beat. Oh, a little bona fide out instrumental outro. It's just a good B-side. It's just a simple good B-side. It's really smooth. It's really easy to listen to. It's one of those songs where you just kind of groove with it. Like, involuntarily groove with it. And the thing, whenever I see XE on lyric credits, is that it doesn't really matter what type of song it is. XE has always been really good at incorporating rap verses into pop songs. Look across the entirety of the Uju Sonia discography, and there's a lot, but look across the entire Uju Sonia discography. If you see lyric credits, and even not just lyric credits, but like compositional credits of any capacity with XE's name on it, the rap verse is going to be absolutely perfect. She understands how to write a rap verse, but also incorporate a rap verse. Like, it can be the brightest pop song in the world. Think, actually, I don't know if she was on writing credits for Momomo, but, like, think back to, even, like, the recent Uju Sonia stuff, like, Unnatural era, Last Sequence era, even Uju Sonia the Black era. Like, the rap verses are so well incorporated, and the lyrics and the flow of the lyrics fit so well with the song. And that's what I think XE does really well, is that not only is she good at writing the flow, but she's also good at making the flow fit musically with the rest of the tune. And now, like, typically she'd be doing it for, her own rap sections. But now she started doing it for other groups. Like, it was High Key first, and now she's doing it with IVE. And it feels really natural. And I think that says a lot about her writing skills as well. And just put some respect on my girl XE's name, man. Like, shout out XE, man. Shout out XE. Okay, next up, Heroine. Again, Ryan S. John everywhere. Also, I've noticed the entire production staff, like in terms of like composition and arrangements, is all Western names, apart from Ryan S. John. Every single one of them. Lyrics are mostly Korean composers and writers, but in terms of the actual like music composition and the arrangement side of it, essentially every single person is Western. Interesting. Anyways, Heroine. Lyrics by Miss An Yoo-jin. So here we go. Admittedly, I would have liked to know the lyrics, but again, taking the music first. We haven't switched chords yet. Interesting chromatic descent. Break out of the key. It's an extremely minimalistic song so far. Like, I'm pretty sure within the verses it's one chord. Like, it hasn't changed chords at all. Even in the chorus, it's only two chords. Oh, we got a little variation there. Peep the harmonies. It wasn't just octaves, we had degrees of variation in there. Na 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 na. That's an interesting choice. Melody choice there.
Say out loud.
Long build and pause. What an interesting song. It's super minimalistic. Like, really minimalistic. There was a little bit of stuff going on, like, especially once we got to, like, the chorus and things like that. But ultimately, like, if we're looking at it from a musical point of view, essentially the entirety of the verses is one chord. Most of the chorus is one chord. I think we got a little bit of chord variance in like the trailing phrases of within the chorus, as well as the pre-chorus itself. Percussion part, pretty repetitive, like synth hi-hat rhythm. Yeah, it's just the vocals were high again, like very high chorus vocals again. But for the most part, that was a very simply composed song. Which has me slightly nervous about what's going to come up, because I have a sneaking suspicion there's going to be something that's very in your face. Because that's how contrast works. You prepare the listeners for something by doing the complete opposite the moment before. It's like how Blue Blood was to I Am. Heroine might be the antithesis of mine. That's just a guess. You know what? Let's find out. Lyric credits. Wonnie on the lyrics. Okay.
사랑보단 나 너보단 me is for sure. 근데 널 보면 초콜릿들 위에 마시멜로처럼 대체 뭐야 네 멋대로.
Okay, we got a bit of a beat going already. It's already driving forward. It also has more complex chords than Heroine already. We're not even in the pre-chorus yet. Where are we? Is this the chorus already, or is this the pre-chorus? That's the chorus. Ooh. A chorus that's one constant build. That's interesting. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Cut the beat back. Boom, 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 boom. Just descending melody line there. It's still a fairly low-key song, but it's definitely energetic in a different kind of way. There's that element of teen pop in here for sure, like Western teen pop almost. Post-chorus. I love that post-chorus. That was so nice. And just take all the energy out. One guitar, Wonnie's vocals. Delayed build, there it is. And a bona fide outro at the end. Okay, okay. It was kind of what I expected, but at the same time, not really. I thought it was going to be like, we kind of like toned it down a little bit with Heroine. I thought maybe we might get something a little bit more aggressive into mine. And to an extent, mine is a little bit more energetic and than Heroine was. But it's definitely, it's not like Love Dive and Royal era type of sound. This is definitely a different take, but it still has that element of like, I don't know why, but it gives me Disney Channel like teen drama vibes. Teen drama like opening theme song vibes. I don't know why. It just has that kind of like inherent teen popness to it. The melody of it, the way the song just sounds, just screams Disney Channel for me. I don't know about you, but I kind of like that. I think it fits, especially with like the kind of stuff they're doing this era in terms of their music. I think it kind of fits. It's like, while it's like they're showing that they can still do that kind of like more refined sound, but they still have that like inherent youthfulness in their sound still, and that like young youthful energy. But they can like mature up their music as well. I think that's super cool. All right, next up, Hypnosis. And looks like we've got rap line back because they've got lyric credits, so here we go. Oh my god, thank god. I thought my computer blue screened again. My computer blue screened yesterday after I finished recording and oh my god. Is anybody else getting Nas X's Montero vibes? Like, it's admittedly different, but it's this chord sequence. Like, anybody else get that vibe? This is definitely different though. This might be the most industrial thing I have done. It almost sounds like it's being played on like a stylophone. It's got that kind of synth sound to it. Quick synth pad build. And then we're back into this. I like the really subtle octave harmony in the background too. I think that's a nice touch. Little bit of a late rap verse as well. Oh, that song was short. Hold up. How long was that? 2 minutes 26. Is that the shortest song on the entire album? Hold on. Yes, it is. Okay. Well. I would say it's very appropriately titled. That song kind of knocked me on my ass a little bit. Like, honestly, the first 5 seconds, I genuinely thought my computer had just absolutely crapped itself again. And the thing about my computer is if I'm in the middle of a recording and it blue screens, I'm not getting that back. And we've been going for like, what, almost 30 minutes? That would be a catastrophic time for me, but I digress. Hypnosis. Wow. I didn't know I've had that crunchiness in them. Okay, okay. It's definitely a rap line oriented song. The beat is an immediate giveaway of that. And I'm surprised we kind of had to wait until the end of the song to get it, considering the fact. Again, really no qualms about it. I like the contrast between the rap line members, between Ray and between Kao, because they do have very distinctively different deliveries. Like, Ray does have that inherent, like, vocal color that Japanese female idols have. It's not as prevalent in her tone compared to other female vocalists, like, say, Yuna, Chosarang, and, like, Hina of Lightsome, Nako of IVE, and, like, people like them, where when you listen to Japanese female idols sing, like, that are active in K-pop, you know immediately they're Japanese based off of their vocal tone because they have that, like, cutesy color in their voice. I don't know why that's the case. Never been able to find a solid answer for it, but Ray, while not as evident as other female artists in the industry, still does have that very slight inherent trait of that cutesiness. Offset that with Kao's delivery, and they make for a really good double hit pairing. 1-2 rap verses are some of my favorites, like one after the other, because you can do so much to stylistically contrast the two. Like, one of my favorites is TNX's Move, their debut song, the rap section. You have this, like, the first rapper, who I still don't know his name, it starts off with this, like, nice marching beat. So, and then you have this really nice, firm marching beat with the flow. And then all of a sudden, Hui hops on the beat on the second half of the rap verse, and it's just it's like it's no longer a march, and it's like galloping with the cavalry into battle. Like, this switch is so quick. Same with Aisha and EU of Everglow. Their 1-2 rap verses are so special because they're so stylistically different in their delivery. But they work so well together and have become like synonymous for me with like rap verses and like 1-2 rap verses. And I'm glad that IVE are kind of getting more opportunities for that, because not every single IVE song has rap sections. We've already seen it on this album. But I'm glad that whenever we do get it, we get to see a combination of the two and not just one and then the other like sometime later. Because their rapping like textures and colors work so well together. Admittedly, I would be curious to hear what their rap verses would sound separately. But I like that they're keeping them together because it works for me. Next up. Not Your Girl. Again. Ooh, Mono Tree. Okay, Mono Tree on the composition, or on the lyrics, and then rap line again. Okay, I'm down. Let's take it back to teen pop one time. Okay. I am such a sucker for bubblegum pop songs. Isolated rappers. It's so bright. Oh, the brass. I love a good brass section in a song. No, that's a cool touch. Have the rappers kind of like headline the verse sections. In return, have the super melodic pre-chorus. Oh. Yes. Cut out the bottom end for the bridge. Peep the harmonies.
어디 한번 뺏어봐
Oh, you made me look like a fool in front of my friends, man. Oh. I love a cheesy pop song like this. Ooh-wee. There's just inherently not a single ounce of sadness and angst in this song. It's all bubblegum, sugary pop. Oh, I love it. It's like Not Your Girl for me is like I Am's little sister. I Am is like if I Am is like the high school sister who's trying to like change their, I don't know, it's like high teens like trying to shed that cutesy image of their like childhood, but Not Your Girl is the childhood. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. I love a song with a good brass section in it, and that song had a really good brass section in it. It's just oh. Again, no qualms about this song whatsoever. Might be, I don't know. Blue Blood was a really good song, but for me right now, I think Not Your Girl might be my B side of the album so far. Although, I don't know. I think Blue Blood and Not Your Girl might be 1 and 2. Don't know the order yet though. But we still have 3 more songs to go. Next Page. New Page is a song by Intersection. From the Black Clover OST, but that's a tangent. Hong Hyun again, Mono Tree lyrics, rap line again. Send it. Oh, this song is slower than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be double the speed of what it is right now. Yeah, it's still this slow halftime pace. Pick up the beat a little bit. Here it is with the double time beat that I was expecting. Interesting chord sequence. I like it though. Back into the halftime. They are really using 1A's low vocals a lot this album. I like it. This is such a long build. Oh my goodness. And then the drop actually happens. Back into halftime for the bridge. Straight into the bridge this time too. That's where they bring in the beat, okay. Okay, the end of Next Page was not how I expected this song to end. I'm going to be honest. It I was kind of expecting that like upbeat like chorus repeat one more time and like fade away on the last note. I didn't realize we'd get an actual outro from them. Interesting song. The chord sequence is not the typical four chords like pop song formula. It's still using four chords, but it's not the usual four chords, if that makes sense. Kind of like that. It differentiates it from the rest of the crowd a little bit. If I'm gonna be completely transparent, I was slightly unsure as to how I was going to feel about the song had it entirely been in that halftime beat. I'm glad we got a little bit of a beat pickup, especially in that pre-chorus. And it's one of those things where in a song, especially in a pop song, as a composer, you have to like really pay attention to what the energy of the song is like, not just how it is musically, but how the music comes across to the listener. And if it's a song that really doesn't have a lot of like builds or like ebbs and flows in it, it's going to come across as a really stale song really quickly. And while that like slow halftime beat is really nice, if that entire song was in that slow halftime feel, I think this song would have gotten really old really quickly. But they decided to pick it up and bring in that double time beat when the song needed the most, and when the song had moments where it was building naturally, so pre-choruses and then lead into the chorus and things like that. And I think that was really smartly incorporated. Because, well, naturally, yeah, the chorus is meant to be a nice flourish for the chorus, whether it's you go with the anti-drop option or the traditional drop option. The chorus is when you're going to have the big flourish of energy within the song. Every chorus, it's like the main point of the song is the chorus. But to build the energy up of the song, not just in volume and in terms of the instrumentals, but also to like actually double the pacing of the song in the build up as well, is a really nice way to disguise that. Shout out the composition team for that. Next song, penultimate song, Cherish. No member involvement on this one. I'm trying to find the right genre for what this would be, but I can't put my finger on it. I like this filtered pre-chorus though. This is cool. That was not how I expected that phrase to end. I'm not mad at it though. Like it just went West Coast all of a sudden. I'm gonna turn down my ears a little bit. Those snares are really crispy. Was there a very slight vocal run on there, Miss Liz? Yeah, that run and build into the chorus is so interesting. This is a complex song. Rhythmically, it's pretty straightforward, but in terms of composition, like, especially chords, and just kind of like how they've written each individual phrase is, I think, the most complex song on the entire album so far. Yeah, that vocal run at the end of the pre-chorus is so interesting. Because it's not what you expect from a pre-chorus, and it's definitely not what you expect in the key that it's being sung in. Yeah, Cherish is a sleeper pick for me because it's so musically complex. Like each individual element is really not that complicated. It's what happens when you put everything together is what makes it complex for me. Like Kitsch was an extremely experimental song for me. And it went with the droning anti-drop. It went with the really repetitive lyrics. It had the really big style switch. That is kind of like experimental music in a nutshell. It's trying things that really just sound different, and the combinations of things that really wouldn't necessarily be like the first thing that comes to a composition team's mind when they're writing a song. Cherish kind of does have that trait in a way, but it's not as obvious as Kitsch is. It's really subtle things like vocal runs that go out of the home key, or the combination of really complex chords, especially between the synths and the vocals, or like synths and secondary synths. And the thing about all of those pieces like put together is that there really isn't any musical dissonance involved in it. And I think that's the miraculous thing about it, is that when you combine a whole bunch of like music elements together and you aren't really paying attention to like what notes are being included, more often than not you're probably going to find some dissonance. Like when I say dissonance, think about if you have ever played piano before or ever been near a piano before. If you play a white key and the black key immediately above or below it together, it's going to sound really ugly. Two and like immediate notes side by side played together on a piano makes a really ugly sound on its own. And with the complex chords that are being used in Cherish, it almost feels like there should be a moment where there's a massive musical dissonance, or moment of musical dissonance somewhere, but it never happens. Even though it's really complex, the song still flows just perfectly fine, and I think that's really interesting. Okay, that final song on the album, Shine With Me, lyrics by Miss Won Young and a whole bunch of people on composition and arrangement. So here we go. Final song on the album typically is an album. We have an IVE album. No, IVE album. IVE ballad. Shout out the synth string section. I used to cry, 울고 싶지 않아 괜찮은 척 웃으며 날 본 순간 깜깜했던 밤이 빛이 나기 시작해 어둠 속에 감춘 내 눈물도 네 빛 앞에서 모든 게 다 I used to cry. I'm liking this build. Keep it coming. Or is this the post-chorus? We'll find out in a second. Oh, the Shine With Me motif is the post-chorus. I really appreciate the acoustic guitars in the verses, though. There is something... Acoustic guitars in the pop song just has this inherent, like, personal trait to it. I think it's really cool, especially for a ballad. The background string section just makes this chorus feel so grandiose. Straight into the bridge. No. I like this build. Nice, nice. 1 beat delay on the re-entry, but I like it. Delay the drop again. And a bona fide outro. Oh, and that's how they end the album. Well then. Well, actually, what I have to do first is add all of it to the playlist and flip on back over here. We'll start with Shine With Me just because, like, we haven't really talked about the song yet. It's, I think, the perfect way to wrap up the album. It's a little bit low-key, it's a little bit laid back, but we still get the really high vocals. And it's anthemic, and it gets your head moving, it gets your arms flowing. It's definitely a cell phone flashlight type of song, and I can definitely see if I've ever do a concert series that they end the concert with that. 100% I could see that. And it's... I'm honestly surprised that it took this long to get a ballad from IVE. Yes, I mean... Admittedly, if you have 2 song singles as your only main releases up until this point, then it makes sense why we haven't, because if you have, like, a pretty energetic title track and then the B-side is a ballad, it's like, might as well, because, like, ballads are kind of expendable in the pop scene, because you can kind of do, like, you know, every album doesn't need a ballad. And as was the case with IVE, their singles never had a ballad. So we finally get them on a ballad now. And I think they really, really play it well. It's like, Rapline can sing too. Like, Rapline can sing here. And it's the variation in vocal textures and colors in this group that I think really shine and resonate well in a ballad. And as a sucker for a ballad myself, I very much enjoyed it. But for the album, holy smokes, this is what dives around the world. This is what Whiz Ones around the world have been waiting for. When they had gone single for their releases, like, they've been approaching a year with Afterlike. Actually, I can pull up proper numbers for that. Well, like, they released after, like, around 9-10 months after debut, I think. Yeah, around 9-10 months after debut. And after that, we come to expect, like, okay, so we'll probably get, like, an EP or something afterwards. Or a full-length album. So we had hope for a full-length album. And to be fair, we did get one. But the quality And the variation that this album had, considering this was their first album after 3 singles, mind you, like with this album alone, they have doubled and some their discography. Like, I think this is like Japanese releases included. I think this album has single handedly just doubled IVE's discography. And because of it, because we got so many songs on it, we as listeners got the chance to fully experience what IVE are capable of as an entire package. Like, we got some low songs, we got some high songs, like vocally we got some low and high songs. In terms of like energy of the song, we got a nice ballad, we got a nice like dance track, we got a really bubbly like girly pop song. We got nice vocals, we got nice rapping parts. This really was the entire package, and I'm so glad Starship let them do this because it has been too long. Like, I feel like after like probably could have been an EP era, or like I just wish we had more music leading up to it. But now that we have the full length album, I couldn't be happier with it. I've still yet to grow on Kitsch, but I'm not going to keep harping on that. The album, each individual element, the entire package, is tremendous. The name I'm still unsure about. Is Ives, Ive, like. But that's besides the point. The album was tremendous. I very much enjoyed it. Hopefully you did as well. Hopefully YouTube hasn't gotten upset with me about it. Because if it didn't, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy and want to see what channel icon is up there, you can find the back catalog of stuff watched in the past. Drop a subscription if you want to keep up to date with whenever I upload new videos. And if you want to watch another video of mine right away, YouTube recommends you watch that video down there. And until next time, bye-bye.